mulching, number one, the importance, the reasons why, and some of the mulches that we would recommend for you to utilize in your garden that we use in ours.
Sure. So mulching is important for many reasons, but one is it helps retain the moisture in the soil. Another one is it helps suppress weeds, and sometimes it feeds your soil.
As the organic matter breaks down, it will feed the soil. Leaves, for example, when we apply the leaves to our beds, the worms will migrate up and feed on them and break that down and take it into the subsoil and feed the microbial life with that as well. So mulch is very important. You've seen soil that is not being covered, that's been left bare in your garden over winter, over a rainstorm, and it has this weathered look to it. And it almost it's like very bare and plain and discolored and doesn't look healthy. We want to mimic what nature does, and that is to incorporate and cover the soil wherever exposed soil is at, whether that's in the yard, around trees, or in the vegetable garden. We want to cover it even in raised beds or containers. You can mulch in containers and do it very successfully.
I think mulching in containers is a great idea, especially if it's a container that it's going to be an area with a lot of sun. That way it'll help so that you don't have to water it as much, and that's definitely something to think about. So you can mulch with leaves and straw.
Well, leaves, many people don't have the leaves now,
Right.
but for us,
we have leaves that we saved from last fall.
yeah, we always stockpile in the garden unshredded leaves, and then as we need them in the spring, we will mulch them with the leaf mulcher and apply them to the beds that until we run out of them, and then we go to the next one on the list, which is straw.
Yeah, so straw could be fairly readily available if you live in an area where you can get straw. Otherwise, a typical bale costs like $8.
Yeah, $5 to $8.
And sometimes it might be worth it if you want a nice mulch. Straw is definitely a nice mulch for a lot of uses in the garden.
There are applications in which straw has been sprayed with a chemical. So if you're directly getting it from a farmer, or you are a farmer, because we're in a lot of the Midwestern states where farming is very prevalent, you know what your straw has been sprayed with, if anything. I grew up on an agricultural farm in southern Illinois, and for as long as I was on the farm, we never sprayed wheat at all, which was the product that we made straw from. But I know there are some applications in which people do spray the straw, and it depends on what that chemical is and if it will leach into your vegetable garden.
Right. So straw is another one. Shredded paper, and we shred all of our old mail. We shred a lot of stuff. We shred our show notes.
Yeah. We do our show on paper, and people are like, well, that's not very environmentally friendly.
We print on both sides.
But also, you look at it, technology fails. So it's not good whenever we're trying to do a show and our system goes down and we've got physical paper. So that's how we do our show.
It's just easier for us.
Yes.
But then we are responsible and we shred it, or we would recycle it if we weren't going to shred it. And then we put that back into the garden, and you can use it as mulch. You can use it as filler for the bottom of some containers. There's a lot of uses for it, but shredded paper is definitely a good mulch.
Yeah, shredded paper. We've done a video that you dig a hole much deeper than what you intend to, and you throw your shredded paper, your mail in it, and what that does, it's a sponge mechanism and absorbs the water, and then you put the soil back on top of it, and you plant in that pile of soil where the shredded paper is below, and that moisture wicks out of this paper and into the soil to feed your plants.
So you can also use seed, and so you use grass clippings. If you use grass clippings, you want to make sure that they're as seed-free as possible. When we say seed-free, if you have this like back area,
dandelions,
or if you have this back area maybe that doesn't get mowed a lot and it's got some grass seed, probably don't want to use that as mulch. Chemical-free means that if you treat your lawn, if you pay somebody to treat your lawn with something like a weed and feed or some sort of broadleaf removing chemical, if you're not sure what your herbicide, if you're not sure what your lawn is being treated with, if you pay somebody, you should certainly ask them if you want to use those grass clippings. Most of the time, it's a broadleaf herbicide. And the problem with that is that that will kill a lot of your vegetable plants. It'll kill your tomatoes, peppers, potatoes, to name some of the few.
And poison the soil.
And poison the soil. So even if you think, okay, well, I'll put it in my compost, it will not break that persistent herbicide will not break down in the compost and can further cause damage. So if you know that you're spraying your lawn or you pay somebody to spray your lawn, don't put those grass clippings on as mulch. And what you also want to do is you want to make sure that they're dried. So after you're done mowing the lawn, you can lay them out on your driveway. They're going to dry pretty quickly in the sun with the air, and then you can use it as mulch.
Why can we not use grass clippings that are wet right out of the bagger?
Okay, so if you use the grass clippings right out of the bagger, they're going to create mold. Grass clippings are very high in water content, and if you just start piling those as mulch, they're going to get moldy and gross.
And there'll be additional bacteria that will grow and can hamper and damage and hurt the plants in which you're growing. Next thing you can use as mulch is a commercial material called garden paper, or you can actually use newspaper. But garden paper is a little thicker than newspaper.
It's more like a butcher paper almost.
Yeah, but it's porous and it's biodegradable.
Another thing you can use is pine needles or pine mulch, and that is very good to use. There's misinformation on the internet.
No, really?
Abe Lincoln told me.
Oh.
So there's misinformation on the internet that you cannot use pine needles because they'll supposedly make your soil acidic, and this is not true. Once the pine needles fall off of the tree, their acidity level drops significantly, so it doesn't affect your soil.
Now, the garden paper, I want to touch on that in a minute. It is a chemical-free, biodegradable garden paper that you roll out. They come in widths and lengths of different dimensions, and it's a green material, basically, and it will prevent weeds from coming up, and it will help retain moisture in the soil, allowing the plants to get moisture, but, just like a weed fabric, but on the organic side, because weed fabric is not an organic product at all. Many people use it and reuse it over and over again, but it simply is not the case.
Right. So that's another thing. And then you could use a combination. So say that you want to use something like your pine needles, but you have a lot of newspaper. You can use a combination. And you can put the newspaper down and then put the pine needles on top of it. That newspaper will break down, I think, fairly quickly. But that gives you an option to also just add a little bit more compostable material to your soil. For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.